Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back with another video, and thank you for tuning in. In this video, I'll be talking about one of my favorite builds, the Sip of Champagne. And I just wanted to show some of the upgrades that I have done with this car. But bear with me. A lot of things I have done with this car, which actually within the last 2 to 3 years, and still up to this day. So let's check it out and see what I've done so far with the Sip of Champagne. The Sip of Champagne car was the third RC car I have built. It was supposed to be my last RC car, but as time went on with me building this car, I ended up building all of these other cars as well. But I love each and every one of them, and everyone has a special place in my heart. So I'm glad that I have these cars, but still, the Sip of Champagne is the top dog of them all to me and my collection, because this is based of me having my own dream build if I actually had 64. So one of the first things I did with upgrading the car is installing this custom trim that I got engraved from Julian Blee. He did the front and the back, and I added a touch of gold onto them. I also got my trunk set up, which I did in the past. Got that custom built by Braveheart Customs. So I was pretty happy with the car so far from that point. But I knew for me to actually win anything in a competition, especially from what I've seen in Arizona and in Las Vegas, this car won't get me there. So one of the other upgrades I did is I had this engine in here. I installed it with this new engine that I got custom built. One of the other upgrades I did with the Sip of Champagne is I converted it from a single servo over to a dual servo setup, because I knew with having the engine and the trunk setup and the custom interior, another car is going to be heavier. I also installed Jerry's new steering servo. Got the car hooked up and set up, and I also upgraded the Super Scale kit from a 3 servo to a 4 servo setup. And I got the front servo to actually work off of one channel, just to make sure the car got that extra power that it needed to get the car off the ground with everything installed on the car. One of the other things I did is I love the color of the Sip of Champagne, but it's not the actual color that I would prefer. So I actually reached out to my good friend Daniel McGo, and he actually got this 64 custom painted for me at the color I requested and wanted. And the color he hit it with, spot on. He hooked me up with a new interior and everything needed to finish the new 64 Impala shell. He even hooked me up with LED lights for the car, which I thought was really cool, because not everybody's going to do that for you. He installed everything, all the chrome pieces, kept the whole shell separate. That way when I got it, I could put it all together in one piece. Here's a little clip here that I have with the headlights installed on the car. I swapped out the front grille. That way I can keep the engraved parts on the new 64 Impala shell. And one of the things I really needed was a Continental kit. I had to make sure I had that with the new build this time. And I got matching painted skirts. That was definitely a must. Here's a Continental kit with a couple extra touches on there for added detail. Here's a little clip of the whole shell put together on the chassis. I love the stance with it. I wish I was able to keep it this low, but this is how the car sits before I got the interior installed on the car. I found these amazing emblems on eBay, and he actually makes emblems for the 64, the 65, the Cadillac, several 110 scale cars, plus more. I used stickers from the Impala body sticker sheet to add more details onto the emblems. Here's the headlights I have here, and I swapped them over to give it that old school look and give it a little more scale look, in my opinion. I also got the taillights wired in, but I made sure the taillights were wired in with the trunk still being operational. That also means I also cut the hood and trunk open so I could display my new motor and trunk setup. So here it is with the motor installed, make sure everything still fit. And here's the car with the new Super Scale setup with 4 servos, making sure everything still works and hops with everything installed. You see, with that dual servo kit up front, this car is hopping with no issue whatsoever. But I did find one issue. I noticed the rear was really low. I had to go back and adjust the settings on it, which I ended up doing down the road. I found this interior for sale on the Redcat Racing Lowrider page. Decided to pick it up and give it a try. This is not something I would do in real life if it was my real 64 Impala, but with the RC car, it was keeping it to be unique and definitely one of a kind. Decided to give it a try and give it a test fit, but I ran into an issue and I realized because this is a custom interior, where my battery is on the chassis, it's actually hitting the back seat of the car, so I could not use the interior. I also found this awesome detail that I wanted to give a special shout out to Frank Gonzalez. He installed this RC four-wheel drive kit in his engine on several of his RC cars, and he added an immaculate amount of detail to it. Once I seen him do this, I fell in love with it, and I just had to give this a shot myself. This is exactly what I needed and wanted, but extra detail in the engine bay of the sip of champagne. And once again, shout out to Frank. Appreciate your talent. Here's the kit right here before it's painted. You can actually use this kit with a couple of modifications to make it work in your Redcat 64. This is the accessory kit that I also got to give the car extra detail. Unfortunately for me, I had to cut the engine out because I already had an engine. I just needed a firewall base. I found this hood and trunk braces 3D printed that I knew had great detail on the 64 Impala. I had to cut out the area where the hinges went because I already had my hinges. So here's the engine bay all nice and painted with the extra accessories, and here's the engine bay installed with new engine on the car. With the hood brace, I added a little bit of mirror in there to give that car the extra detail. This is the most detail I've ever had done for an RC car, but I didn't stop there. I wanted to redo the trunk because I noticed over time that the carpet in my trunk was getting yellow and stained up, probably from the dirt and dust of me touching it. So I found a trunk kit from Mad Scales Model Designs. He has several designs and they come with pumps, batteries, even speakers. But I actually got this sent out to the same person who did the interior, Justin Quillen. He said he's never done this before. I'm very happy that I pushed him to do it because look at the detail in this. He's got the mirror with the Impala logo and the lights up in the back, and it actually says a sip of champagne. I wanted to run some plumbing for the pumps, but I didn't want to ruin the trunk whatsoever. But I actually got these parts, the hood and trunk, set up to be removable with magnets. Here's a little clip that I have showing me installing the engine bay, and it pops right in there with magnets. The same thing goes for the trunk display. And I installed some magnets on the side and on the bottom to get it all to work and be removable. The reason I did this, just in case I needed to work on the car, I would have that option to be able to still access everything I needed to access, just in case. I even ran a power wire for the trunk setup to make sure it still lights up and works with the headlights and taillights when I turn it on the RC car. I have one final little piece that I installed with the trunk layout, and it's just to cover the bottom magnet piece, and it's also in there with magnets, so it is also removable. Here it is installed. I couldn't really show how to install it. I kind of needed both hands to put it on there, but you get the gist of it. I also got these antennas from Twisted Tree RC. They are flexible and they move around. You don't have to worry about breaking them. And one of the other upgrades I got was Jerry's new V2 two-tone straight lace spokes. Love the way they look and the color is immaculate. But I also got his new interior that he recently released, and I got it custom built and painted from Patrick Hill. He did an amazing job with the interior, adding all those extra details. That is something I would not be able to do. And Jerry's just recently released his 12-volt motor and gear bracket that you need to make the new interior work. But you also modify the chassis a little bit and cut out a little piece of plastic where the old motor goes. Did some test fitting, and I quickly realized that the new interior will not work with the dual servo setup. So I'm back on the drawing board. It means the car is now complete. I still need to find a way to get this new interior to work, because I am determined to make that interior work with the sip of champagne. So that makes it a wrap for this video. That also means there will be a part 2. I'll be showing how to install that motor and how I end up making this new interior work. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and checking out with me on the update on the sip of champagne. Hope everyone has a great day and take care.
I never had to make a killing. A Mac on top of that, I used to stare with you 24/7. You could ask my ex-mother, but now I'm on the new and kick, making hits, stacking chips. Now everything's legitimate. I flipped the script a long time ago on the fiber when I discovered this new way to make my cash flow. Yes, indeedy, I wasn't greedy. Got my click out the gutter, now they rolling with the Sam Sneezy. Hip-hop fanatic causing static in the industry. These whack creators, I call them imitators. Be trying to see me, but see I'm unexplanatory with the fame and glory. That's why I gotta tell my story with no disguise.